357-1290. Email is dan at WKBKradio.com. The mayor is here with us. Switching gears a little bit, one of the big topics of conversation we've been having on the radio lately, and this comes up from time to time, is the need for public bathrooms downtown. There was a nice article in the newspaper about a group of people representing various churches here in the area, perhaps looking to do that. We've talked before about the bathrooms that we had and the different entities, one inside the transportation, then one on the outside of the transportation center, and that didn't go in the right direction. There was one over in Ashwellet River Park that had a situation, and that got closed up. But we're hearing more from people that want them so that they can help maybe out people who are homeless or a little disadvantaged. Others just saying to benefit the businesses, so that if you're an elderly gentleman or you're a parent with 4 kids and the need arises, that you have a place to go, because right now the burden is really solely on the businesses that are downtown, and whether or not they're
also
open to
on the library. The library.
There's
a lot of people that go into the library and use the facilities there, and not always appropriately. So that certainly is an issue, and we're thrilled that there is a group of people that are interested in working on that issue, it's not just an issue for Keene. It's an issue for any municipality. You go to Boston, you go to New York. They have the same types of issues, the same types of problems that we have here in Keene. Fortunately, Keene is smaller. Issues tend to be more manageable here. So we're hoping that we can find a way to be able to accommodate the needs when it's appropriate.
How realistic is it to do something where the transportation center is? What's known as the transportation center. Obviously, there's a yogurt place in there, and there's still the kitchen, and the area that was recently a restaurant.
I'm not expecting that's going to be the solution. I'm not.
Why not? Get a collaboration with these groups and the city. And perhaps the chamber was mentioned, because a welcome center, the whole idea, and I'm sure you heard about, the welcome center would have somebody staffed there during hours, at least during the day, early evenings, people looking for info about wall dogs or the historical history tour or the bike paths would be in there. If the bathroom was inside, so to speak, having that person there would most likely mean that people aren't going to abuse the bathrooms.
Certainly, if one of the organizations that it will ultimately have to be a place that is staffed. So it'll have to be a place that there are people there during the day. If one of those organizations wants to take on that responsibility, it certainly is something that we could support.
But the city wouldn't want to. There wouldn't be the money to have the city orchestrate this sort of thing.
The city doesn't have the staff for that.
Well, that's why you would add the staff for that.
Well, we add I'm not going to encourage anything that's going to increase the tax burden on the citizens.
How much money does the city make from leasing that property? The offices, the Senator Shaheen has an office there, the YOLO's there, the restaurant.
I don't know offhand. You'd have to look at in the budget to see.
It's not a huge amount of money. It's not necessarily a small amount of money, but it's not because then again, if you're giving up that property, you're giving up that revenue.
It's certainly in the thousands of dollars.
Yeah. But, not only would it be an expense for the city, but they'd also have to give up some of that revenue if it went into that. But do you agree that area is a good spot to have one, and that and not necessarily, there's two phases. There's helping the homeless, and there's just...
I certainly agree that the downtown it would be appropriate to have something in the downtown area that would be appropriate, that for that. There's a lot of discussion about the skate park, but if there's a redesign and a redevelopment of the skate park, that requires facilities as well.
Meaning have the bathroom over in that area, which is close enough to downtown. Have some signs up if you're shopping or you're here in town with the family or on the bike path to go over and use a bathroom over there. Mm-hmm. All right, so that would be part of that budget, but that would still be city money.
Could be.
Or it would be the money that they're
could be any number of possibilities.
357-1290. We'll pick up there when we come back in just a moment. The mayor is here. It's 9:30, 9 o'clock. It's a Monday morning, and this is your Open Mic Show on FM 107.5, AM 1290, and WKBKRadio.com. If you have a question or a comment for the mayor, we'll go to the phones when we come back. KBK News Time, 9:30.
WKBK is live and local, Saturday and Sunday mornings starting at 5. It's the John DiBernardo Show, 107.5, 1290, WKBKRadio.com. The news that matters from around the world, coming up at the top of the hour, 107.5, 1290, WKBKRadio.com.
Mayor Kendall Lane is with us on our open mic program, 357-1290. About 20 minutes left if you want to join us on the program, FM 107.5, AM 1290, and WKBKRadio.com. We were just talking about public restrooms downtown, and again, the mayor kind of agreeing that there are two entities here. There's one that envisions bathrooms that would include showers or places that could be utilized by the homeless and others in need downtown. The other idea of public bathrooms are those who are just speaking on behalf of the people who are downtown eating or drinking or seeing a show or bike riding or reading the newspaper on a park bench, just to have a public facility for those folks to go to. No necessity for showers and those sorts of things. So two types of bathrooms. A lot of focus has been on the old transportation center. Is it possible to set up a form of a bathroom that doesn't necessarily have running water? Obviously no showers or anything like that, but something clean that people could use that could be cared for sparingly and I guess like a glorified porta potty. You've seen these, even the Cheshire Fair has had them, and meaning that there's no running water, or I guess you could even hook up water. Some of them have sinks. But the idea is you go into a place that's cleaner, nicer smelling, but the waste is still disposed of.
Yeah,
the good old fashioned.
And I mean, part of the issue is obviously the maintenance and supervision, and so it's got to be in a location where there's going to be activity and there's going to be other people who are available that can maintain them and
how hard would that be for the city and the Public Works Department to lock them at the end of the day and to go in there and clean them on occasion? I mean, they have staff to do that in other parts of City Hall and things of that nature. So,
well, I'm not, certainly there's a crew at City Hall that keeps the facilities at City Hall clean and maintained. Whether they could be utilized to expand their responsibilities, we'd have to see where they're located.
You're not really excited about it, are you? You don't, because it's going to cost money. But some would say that's a pretty decent investment for downtown versus other things.
Well,
if we're going to be trying to attract people here, you've got the thing for wall dogs in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Out in Pontiac, Illinois, it increased by 10 times the amount of people that visit that city to recreate.
Yes, it did.
So we're given this great gift, and yet people are going to come here and not have a place to go to the bathroom. So what do we do about that?
Well, when they come here, they will go in the restaurants and eat and use the bathrooms when they're in the restaurants. When they're shopping, some of the stores have facilities available.
So leave it on the businesses. So you don't envision the city getting involved with having public bathrooms downtown anytime soon.
I think that that's something that will have to be developed, and we've certainly voted to go forward and work with people that are interested in that to see what can be developed.
Wouldn't you agree though that if this place is known for or is created to help the homeless people and that element, that it doesn't serve the purpose of being a public bathroom for all, though?
I mean, I certainly wouldn't let my kids go in there by themselves if there are other people in there that I would certainly make sure that my kids are supervised.
357-1290, the number to join us. You're on the radio. You're on with the mayor. Good morning.
Good morning. There was a lot of discussion about the public bathroom issue at the last MSFI meeting with a group of people coming together. They were asking for a welcome center, and that would, I guess, be a part of Keene's visioning. They were talking about a unit that has been designed by members of the staff and entrepreneurs in the city of Portland, Oregon. It's called, appropriately enough, the Portland Loo. And what it is it's a freestanding restroom. And you've probably seen these in some of the bigger cities. They're stainless steel. They sit out into the the sidewalks or in the parks and such like that. They're designed by a member of the police department, the public works department, the fire department, to address all of the problems and issues that cities have had with, especially the drug problem. And that being that a lot of these places were set inside of buildings, and just because of the privacy that you want to have with the bathroom, they're set back so that they do have privacy and they're out of sight. These units are been designed with all of those problems in mind. They're anti-graffiti, they're solar powered, they're self-cleaning. They even have blue lights on the inside of them so that it makes when people go in to use hypodermic needles, you can't see your veins. They've thought about all of the little problems that the cities in all over the world have had with this issue. They've come up with a pretty good design. In any case, going back to the Gilboa Avenue, there's also a presentation at the rec center last week about the skate park. And one of the college's architectural students brought together about 6 plans for a gathering space. It was much more than just a skate park. It was more of a gathering place where you had throughout the designs they had many other many things that we talked about. But it was the idea that it was a place that people go not just for skateboarding, but it was a public. It was more than a park, and it sort of encompassed a lot of the ideas that we've been already talking about: a welcoming center, bathrooms, skate park, places for people to come together, and even the envisioning of Gilboa Avenue, where we've been wondering what we're going to do with that space of land that sort of it's a void in between Central Square and the center of Keene.
Right. Well, that
we have.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about that. Obviously, some of that land's not owned by the city of Keene. They would have to be to market that to purchase that land. The land has been promised to Keene State College. I would assume that this being a big public area and a public space, again, this doesn't address the issue of the homeless or people in need of showers and those sorts of folks, because, again, you wouldn't necessarily want them anywhere near kids or families or people that you're hoping to attract to the city of Keene. But is this sort of what you were talking about, Mayor, keying in on the whole idea of the skate park?
Yeah, I mean, and unfortunately, all the planning, all the development is going to have to be done by somebody other than the city of Keene. The city council voted not to appropriate the $150,000 necessary for the city to actually do the planning and the design work, and that this was certainly part of what the city was envisioning looking at. But the city council voted to pull that money out, so that's not going to happen.
But that money wasn't talking about that as a project. That was tied to the whole downtown revitalization and bike lanes and all that.
But that was part of it. That was part of it.
But it wasn't explained that way.
Don't lose sight of the fact that that was part of the design work that was going to be proposed.
That was never mentioned in the survey. It was not mentioned in the survey, and it wasn't mentioned on the program.
The survey had nothing to do with it. That was part of the downtown work that was going to be done.
Then why wasn't it offered on the survey to say, instead of saying, how do you feel about these 4 or 5 or 6 projects, including bike lanes and the widening of the road, to say, we are not going to recommend anything, but if you had money to spend or if there was a need for downtown, what would that need be? And the need for a public bathroom would come up. That would be something that people would support, as opposed to closing off all of Main Street or adding bike lanes and changing the whole traffic pattern. People had the chance to
support redesign of the downtown to look at that. If they wanted to do that, they had the opportunity.
If now somebody says, okay, let's look back at the capital improvement plan, or even for next year when it's looked at again, not to target the money for would or could or should, but say $200,000 for a welcome center downtown. That's how that would happen, right? Somebody just would ask, and it could be recommended, and it could be added to the CIP.
And that, next year.
Meaning that's how the government works.
It's going to be a little late, but yeah, it could be.
All right. See,
I mean, the CIP's already gone by.
Right. All right. Just one question for the call. The loos that you were talking about, I read in the paper, don't they cost like $300,000 a piece?
Well, they were talking about the Cambridge, Massachusetts ones, and that's really apples and oranges. I presented a quote from the company which sets it's about $92,000 for one of these units. It would be a one-stall unit, and the ones that are used in Cambridge, Massachusetts are multi-stall, and they have two of them that both center around Harvard Square, which it's a much bigger place. So no, it's not that much money at all. It's as in anything else. I mean, you can buy a Volkswagen or you can buy a Cadillac, but
not $90,000 for a single stall.
Okay, and the beauty of this, Danny, is that the group that is talking about the skate park they're going to have to do their own private funding for that. They're going to go out with a capital campaign, and we could coordinate this whole thing. All of these elements, the public space, the bathrooms, the skate park, the farmers market, all of that could be put under one umbrella and actually be paid for by that capital campaign, and the city would only have to maintain it from then on. So
the way that they do for the existing skate park, meaning that the city takes care of the skate park now. The original money was funded privately, but the city runs it as a park.
Also, Terry, let me just point out that we are going to investigate the Portland, Maine idea that you came up with. That it makes a lot of sense, and if there is a way to make that work, we're certainly going to investigate and see if we can't incorporate something like that in Keene.
The main thing about that is it's maintenance free, or a lot.
That's right.
It's a lot.
That's exactly. The operation is much less. The Cambridge Mass model.
24/7. You do not need supervision.
Yeah.
These things are designed by the experts to make sure that you don't need to have that level.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I mean, and the Portland, Maine model, it makes a lot of sense. The Cambridge model, I'm not sure that really works so well in Keene, but the Portland, Maine model, certainly has a lot going for it.
All right. We appreciate the phone call and the information on that. I had mentioned to the mayor, too, I think off air, but I've mentioned it since I received this email last week because, again, we're looking at two different entities. We're talking about a real, true public bathroom for everyone, and then how do we care for others who are less fortunate? The Salvation Army, which is just off Main Street, and Lieutenant Nick over there, Nick Senek, had sent me the information about it. They have a shower at their building at 15 Roxbury Plaza. They allow any individual to use their restrooms and their showers. They can shave, get cleaned up. They even provide them with toiletries and a clean towel if people are so obliged to go over and use the space. It's available Tuesday through Friday from 10 a.m. till 1:30 p.m. in the afternoon when folks need the care. And again, this is a little known fact that people now would know. So in a way, they have their space that they can go to clean up, and we wouldn't have to worry about a space downtown that might be misused the way that we know that they always get misused. Thank you for the phone call.